Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We're here today with our Mindset and Motivation episode of the week. Can't wait to share with you today's topic, which is my 5 tips for better time management. Every single person in the world out there, I believe, is looking for a better way to manage their time. And the reason I say this is that you set goals for yourself in life, but oftentimes you find yourself falling further and further behind. The interesting thing, as we've heard, is we all have the same 24 hours a day. And if we begin to subtract out 8 hours, let's say for sleep, and maybe 8 hours for our work day, well, that's 16 hours of our day. So now we have 8 hours left. And what are we doing with those 8 hours? And of course, all of those 8 hours are not ours alone. So what I want to share with you here today, I think are 5 principles everybody should be trying to implement to the very best of their ability in order to better manage their time. And not just for the sake of better managing your time, just for being productive for the sake of being productive. That's not really what we want, because we want to be able to enjoy our downtime. We want to be able to take a breath, just take a break from life. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, there are certain things that we want to accomplish where if we were to look back, we would say, wow, I wish I did X, or I wish I did Y. And that's really what we want to talk about here today is it's getting done what you want to get done in a faster methodology. And that's really what it's all about. It's just better using your time so that you can have more downtime, right? If you're more productive with your uptime, well, then you're allowed to take that downtime and not feel guilty, because you shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to spend a little time on your phone, want to spend a little time watching TV, want to spend a little time doing absolutely nothing, right? That's okay as long as you are being productive with your time during those other moments. So I've got 5 principles for you here today. These are 5 things I absolutely try to implement in my life because I'm always trying to better manage my time as well. Just like many of you listen to this show, maybe you're going to school and that's kind of like takes up your time of family right now, right? Your homework and your papers and exams and thesis and all of those different types of things. But many of you have children as well. And so you have to spend your time wisely, some with family, some with children, some with your job, your practice, your hobby, your passion, whatever it might be. And then you want to work on yourself a little bit as well. And again, that's why I never want to say you need to do X, Y, or Z in life. That is not my job. That's really nobody's job except you. You need to do certain things in life. We'll talk about those that allow you some type of means to be able to have a home, right? To have some shelter, to have food, to have all of these different types of things. We call that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And hopefully you've tuned in to my previous shows on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are 5 levels. And then in my previous episode, we'll try to link that up here today at 1872. That's today's show, stephencabral.com/1872. And what we'll do is we'll link up the next show, which is basically 2 more levels to Maslow's hierarchy. And again, Abraham Maslow being a brilliant, we'll call them a psychologist in the field of psychology. So what I'd like to do, though, is I'd like to share with you when you have to get things done, you just have to get things done. And then there are also the fun projects that you want to move forward faster. All right, so tip number 1 is this. And I'll be talking about this, I believe, next Monday. So definitely stay tuned for upcoming podcasts as well. I'll be talking a lot more about something I always refer to as first principles. I'll be talking about that really a lot. I talked about it last week a little bit with the virus-based show. I'm talking it this week with our Motivation and Mindset Monday. But you really have to think in life about first principles. And the reason why I mention this is just people waste too much time. They really do. They do things to stay busy, but it doesn't lead to any progress in life. You're staying busy. I know a lot of people that are busy. Most people are busy. Most people are working. Most people are doing. They have no free time, very little free time, right? So they can't go to the gym. They can't exercise. They can't eat well. They can't make their own meals because they're so busy. But that doesn't mean they're moving forward in life. So first principles thinking, and again, I'm going to go much more in depth next week. I don't want to try to do it justice in 60 seconds, what first principles thinking and the theory of first principles really means. And it goes back again thousands of years. But when we look at first principles, we're saying this for today. What is the one lever that you could pull that if you were to do that, things would start to fall into place at a much faster rate for you? Said another way, what domino could you push that if you push that one domino, the other dominoes would begin to fall in line, right? That's really what it is. So let's just give you a couple examples. You're trying to lose weight, okay? But you've already tried to lose weight before in the past. What have you tried? Well, you've tried low-calorie diets, you've tried low-carb diets, you've tried exercising, you've tried running, you've tried a lot of different things, and they've worked to some degree, but you gained the weight back. Okay, so you said, great, let me take, first principles thinking would be, well, what do I know that I need to do in order to lose weight? So you use first principles theories there as well. And again, I'll do many, many more shows on this, but you have to create some type of caloric deficit. The problem with that is that you can only go so low because then it really starts to hurt your metabolism. So if you're at 3,000 calories a day, certainly you could take that down to 2,500 calories. That's going to be fine for the vast majority of people, 99 plus out of 100. Okay, so you have to do that, right? And then you do have to move your body because the more studies I continue to bring you, and again, not my research, but well-researched and absolutely falls in line with bioenergetics and how the body works, is that if you're only dieting and you're not doing any strength training, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. So again, yes, you get short-term results, but what happens? Well, in the future, you're going to put on more body fat because you're going to eat the same calories and you're going to start to have less and less of a metabolic rate. So that's important. Okay. So we do some type of strength training. We get our 10,000 steps. We eat well. Okay. So those things are musts, right? Those are not really challenged by anyone because those are scientific first principles. But then you might say, well, but there's more going on here. What if I was able to speed up my metabolism? Well, that's a great idea. Because if you speed up your metabolism, then what happens? Well, you're able to eat more calories and maintain the same weight. Or you're able to eat the same calories and then lose weight naturally. That's what we try to help people with. And the only way that you get to that is how do you speed your metabolism is you re-regulate the natural hormone levels in your body. That's thyroid, that's cortisol, that's estrogen, that's DHEA, that's testosterone, and then I would say insulin being a hormone as well. So when we look at that, we say, okay, well, now that might be the next step to work on that because, hey, you'll get better results just doing exactly what you do now if you begin to rebalance your hormones. So again, that's kind of looking at, that would be one thing you need to work on using first principles to actually boost your metabolism. So now you get to keep losing weight, not plateau. And you keep the weight off in the long run because you've naturally boosted your hormones. So that's again, a big way to use first principles. Another thing would be, okay, you want a career change. Okay. So if you want a career change, what do you need to do? Well, you're probably going to need some skill, right? In order to shift that career. Okay. So some skill. You'll have to learn that, right? You'll either learn that directly through a mentor, an internship, an online course or courses, going back to school if needed, doing a certification, something, right? You're going to have to learn that. And then the other next step might be just saying like, okay, is this something you really want to do? So you acquire the skill and then you might dip your toes in the water, testing that out part-time, maybe at night. Maybe during a break during the day if you can do it online, again, depending on what your field is. So you start to say, okay, well, what do I even need to do to venture into that new career? Well, there's going to be some education-based process because although most things are taught on the job, you need a qualification in order to get you that job or set up your own shop. So the simple thing is, again, we went to weight loss. Okay, yeah, do your typical things for weight loss. Exercise, right? Use some type of nutritional support. And then in this case, let's look at hormones. And then for job career change, okay, what's the certification, online courses, internship, et cetera, that you need to do? Great. So that's number one. What's going to be the big mover now to get you there? And then step number two, or I should just say second principle out of the 5 we're going over here today, is then you're going to plan that into your schedule. Okay, but I want to step back a little bit because you might say, of course, I need to plan my schedule. Yes, you do, but you only have so much time in the day. So let's say you have that 1 hour a day. Okay, you have 1 hour a day to yourself. Maybe it's a half hour in the morning. Okay, most people can achieve that. And then it's a half hour before bed or after the kids go to bed or you're done studying your schoolwork or whatever it might be. So let's look at it this way. You've got an hour a day. If that is your hour a day, you need to then say, I can't just fill my time with busy things because, again, like you could pick up a book, you could pick up your journal, like you can pick up all these things I have all over my desk right now. You could pick up your phone right here. And all these things are great distractions. We'll be talking to that in just a moment. But what you really need to say is, this is the absolute must things that I need to do in order to hit my goal. So if you know what your first principles are, meaning the 1 or 2 or 3 actions that are going to ultimately lead you to success, that's what needs to be planned for tomorrow. So I have a calendar. It looks like Lego blocks all over the place. My IHPs know what I'm talking about. I've showed it in IHP in our different certifications there. But what you'll see is that my day is planned, and my let's call it like 7:30 in the morning to 5:30 at night. Let's say that's already planned with meetings and recording and all work-related things. Well, if I want to work on something else outside of that, then I need to make sure that I do that in my me time from somewhere around 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning. And then after my kids go to bed, somewhere like 7:30 or so at night. At least for now. I know that obviously they'll grow up and their bedtime will be later. But I have to work that in. If there's additional things that I'm passionate about, well, then I need to work that in there. So that's where we plan that in. So again, how do you boost your hormones? Well, the best thing to absolutely do would be to say, okay, well, what needs to be boosted? So you'll run something like the stress hormones mood and metabolism lab test, or you'll begin to use some type of thyroid boosting protocol, a natural protocol, or you'll use something to re-regulate estrogen dominance, like using something like estrogen balance and you eating more cruciferous vegetables and doing a functional medicine detox. So you'll start to do those things and you'll realize like, well, that doesn't take a lot of time because those are nutritional supplements that I'm using, not for the long term, not for 6 months, but maybe for 3-4 months, right? And I'm going to begin to wean off some of those. And then you'll say, okay, well, now I need to plan my nutrition, plan my exercise, and you can absolutely do those things. So you can really take it to the next level, do something like the Fatlocity system. Like you can do whatever you want, but you know that you have 2 half-hour blocks a day. So what are you going to fit in those half-hour blocks? For a lot of people trying to lose weight, the first half-hour block of the day might be your workout routine. Perfect. It's done, right? And the last half hour of the day might be meal prepping for the next day. So again, you can get a lot done, but if you know that those are the actions that need to be taken because they move the needle the most, well, those are what's planned in your half hour twice a day. All right. Number 3 is this. And I just kind of talked about it with the books here and the phone and the journaling and all the different things that you could be doing. But you need to distance distractions to the best of your ability. And that means this. Distractions are going to come up. But if it's during your 1 hour a day where you are moving forward, you might say, well, what does 1 hour a day really do? Honestly, it could do a lot. In terms of your weight loss, we just talked about it. A half-hour workout, you could alternate days. One day is strength training, the next day is cardio, then strength training, then cardio, whatever you'd like to do, honestly. And then a half hour at night to meal prep, you're good, like perfect. And those are big things. And then, of course, your nutritional supplements take, 10 seconds to take out of the little vitamin box and pop in your mouth. So you can do a lot in that. What about studying for certification? I mean, I can only give you, of course, like what I know from my life, but I tell people all the time, a half hour a day. So that's it, literally 30 minutes per day. And you'll make it through one module of IHP per week. And we say, go back through it again, find out what you missed, take additional notes, and then take your quizzes at the end of each module. So if you do that, that's only a half hour a day. Right? 1 half hour a day, that's it. And that's going to get you through a new module every week to 2 weeks. And so that like you can get so much done. So when you think of it like, oh, it's only an hour a day, sure, but it's 30 hours a month. And that's a lot. And when we go over 50 weeks a year, or let's do 12, right? So 12 months times 30, you're at 360 hours, something like that? I don't do math on podcasts, but I know that it's quite a bit, and that's moving you light years ahead in your life. So I think that's really important, is that during those half-hour blocks, distraction-free. So your phone shouldn't even be in the same room, because forget about airplane mode, forget about all those things. Don't even put it in the same room. You don't need it at all. Like, you just don't need it. And if you're using your phone phone to follow along with like an online workout, or you're putting music on, then great. Just put on the do not disturb and make sure that you're not getting messages that are popping in from work or from whatever it might be. So that's really important. Another thing we do is like, let's say that someone's doing the first 21 days of Fatlocity, or a 21-day detox, or the first 28 days of the CBO protocol, like any of the things that we talk about on other previous podcasts. You probably want to take a 21 day, it's only 3 weeks, but you want to probably take a sabbatical from going out with friends to dinner, to the bar, to any of those things, because it's so tempting to get off course that way. But after 21 days, well, you get a flex meal every single week anyway, but you're going to be feeling so much better that you're going to want to continue going with it. And that's why sometimes you just need that 21-day sabbatical. I do it all the time, and it's a game changer. It really is, because you get to set things in motion and not have to, the rock rolled back down the hill, and I need to push it back up the hill on Monday, right? So get through 2-3 weekends, and it can be absolutely an enormous lever that you can pull in your life. So again, distance those distractions as much as possible. Number 4 is this. Once you set the plan for yourself, follow through. And I know that I shouldn't have to say this, but I have to say it for myself as well. And these motivation and mindset Mondays are for much of myself as they are for anybody else. If you set the plan for your day, you have to follow the plan for your day. Now, here's the tricky part. Typically, you're not accountable to anybody else, right? Unless you've hired an accountability coach, a mentor of some type, or you're part of a group where you keep yourselves accountable, whatever it might be, you're not accountable. So you need to hold you accountable. Like, that's the great thing about success, is that if you are successful, yes, I'm sure that you had a helping hand maybe somewhere along the line, but most people are successful because they've forced themselves to be almost robotic. I mean, it's the truth. Like, I really believe that one of the ways that you will be more successful is if you get out of your head. I mean, I have to do the same myself. Like, there's a million different things that I could do, but if I set my schedule, I have to say, okay, 6:30 to 7 a.m. before my daughters wake up, I need to be doing this because they need my full attention when they wake up, and that's their time, and that's good. Okay, from this time to this time, I need to be doing my research, because if I don't do my research, then when am I going to do it? Well, then I have to do it late at night, and I don't want to do it late at night. So it's like, you have to be robotic about your schedule and your routine. Even when you're not seeing results, that's the big thing, is like, and that's the hard part, is like, I'm doing, like, someone might be out there saying, well, I'm trying to build up my social media following. I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And they don't see results in the beginning. You might not see results for 6 months, and you just need to keep pushing forward and pushing ahead and really being robotic about it. Understanding that if you're using those first principles, that if you get those first principles accomplished, they're going to lead to your goal, right? We don't always know the timeline. We don't. But we do know that if we accomplish those things, we give ourselves the greatest chance for success. And as I've said before, success is inevitable. It's just sometimes a little bit longer period of time. That's it. Like, that's the truth. Whether it's weight loss, health, spirituality, relationships, your career, finances. It's just a matter of time if you continue to work the process. And so the last one is this. When you're down, when you don't want to do that half hour of work twice a day, when those thoughts start to creep up, right? The little voices inside your head or on your shoulders, all those different things, you have to go back to your why, right? So this is what we need to do. There are times, and it might be weeks, where we aren't seeing progress with our health, with our weight loss goal, with our relationships, with our spirituality, with our career. We might not be seeing progress. And when we do, we want to give up. It's only human, it's only natural to say, I don't want to put in this work if I'm not going to be getting the results. The problem is, the results are cumulative. And sometimes you don't lose any weight for a couple weeks, and then the next week you have a breakthrough and you lose another couple pounds. And it's just, you have to understand that the body and the mind and this universe around us, all in good time, we are able to achieve what we want. But we are also tested. There's no doubt about that. I truly believe that. We are tested, and we have to see if we're worthy. And that is a big part of it. Sometimes it's overcoming subconscious blocks. Sometimes it's simply putting in the hours, getting the education, getting the degrees, the certifications, whatever it is that you need, right? You need to work that process. In health, we always say, You didn't get sick overnight. It's probably going to take 12 to 16 weeks to begin to rebalance that body. But when you do, well, now you take hold and you get to keep those results. So really what we try to do is help people keep the results that they get, not the short term. Short term is fine, but if it doesn't lead to long-term results, then you're just up and down yo-yo dieting and yo-yo healthing, right? So that's the big issue. So always go back to your why. Why are you doing this? Is it something that you would regret not doing in your life? Is it something that you believe aligns with who you are? Is it one of your passions? Is it for your children? Is it for your family? Sometimes we do things that we don't even really want to do, but we know that it's for the greater good. And when we accomplish that, well, then that will lead to so much more as well. And that's okay too. It really is not everything in life is things that we get so excited about, but we have to do the things that we know will begin to move us forward in life. And so I really feel that even though some of these don't feel like better time management is about life management. It's not as difficult as we think if we begin to build in those half-hour blocks just twice a day. Anchor the beginning of the day, anchor the end of the day. It's also on our mind. We're rewiring the subconscious mind as well. We're working on what are the big levers that we can pull, right? We're planning tomorrow today, or I typically do it at night. We are distancing our distractions. We're moving those away during our progress half-hour blocks, and we are then being almost robotic about what we need to do. Whether we want to or not, we sit down at the computer, we type, we research, we read, we do the online courses, whatever it is that needs to be. And when we don't want to, when we can't be robotic, we go back to our why. Maybe you have a vision board set up in your room or your office. Maybe you've got a family photo. You're doing it for your kids and your family. Maybe it's a Post-it note with one of your favorite quotes. Whatever it is that goes back to your why, just write that why down. Hey, here's my why. And if you're a visual person like I am, then you have the visual there saying, hey, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it. It could be for the greater service of humanity, your community, a legacy that you want to leave behind. Whatever it is, you need to always know your why. So we've got podcasts on that as well. Hopefully this was helpful. Of course, if it was, always please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for just tuning into the show. And before you go, I wanted to share with you some fun news. Every March, it is that big, momentous occasion where I celebrate another year on this earth. And every year during my birthday month celebration, what I like to do is I like to share with you exactly what I do each and every year. So each March, at the end of March, I begin my Big 5 labs. That is when I take these 5 specific at-home labs that I've been doing now for over a decade. And actually, these are the same labs that helped me get well to figure out what my underlying root cause health issues are and were over 20 years ago. Now I use them to simply optimize my body. So you can use it in 2 ways. The Big 5 labs allows you to figure out what are the underlying root cause issues that are keeping you from getting well, from losing the weight, boosting your metabolism, and then aging at a much slower rate and actually reversing the aging process in many cases. So to learn more about the Big 5 labs and exactly what I do every single March, head on over to equi.life. That's EQUI.LIFE, because for the first 100 Big 5 lab kits, we are actually discounting it by $500 for my birthday week. So that is going on this week. And again, while supplies last, it's the first 100. And just like last time, we ran out of those minerals and metals based tests. So I want to make sure that you get your opportunity, if you've been interested, to see where your vitamin levels, mineral levels, electrolytes, hormones, your digestion, your thyroid, your hemoglobin A1C, all the different numbers that you should be looking at. In addition to your annual blood work, you want to make sure that you are running these Big 5 labs. If you've never heard about them before, definitely head on over to equi.life, EQUI.LIFE for all the details and save $500 while supplies last. I'm telling you right now, this is something that I will continue to do every single year for the rest of my life to make sure I find the different imbalances before they become a bigger issue, which then leads to what we call dis-ease in the body. So again, one more time, head on over to EQUI.LIFE for all the details, and while supplies last, save $500. Take care, everyone.